morning and welcome to another edition of Roadhouse Live. We are live. Today is July 5, 2023. We are coming off of the 4th of July, where independence was declared once upon a time, and we are living in the freest of free nations on the planet. Our markets are our markets, and as we kind of sort through some of the news, we see how, you know, freedom is important. Freedom is everything. So hopefully everybody celebrated properly yesterday. Bender, did you celebrate properly yesterday?
I think I celebrated enough for multiple 4th of Julys. So yes, all my fingers are burned and I'm hungover. So that tells me yes.
That's good. That's good. I feel the same way. I feel like I did my part also.
There you go.
Story for a different day. All right, so we're coming into the morning. We had a little dip. This is a little dip, right? A little dip, a little tiny. Bender's probably going to show us that we were in this little bull flag, but it's kind of questionable whether or not we're still kind of flagging in this little pennant.
You know, if you're going to tell me what I'm going to show, then why am I even going to do it?
Because you always have the opportunity to say, you know what, Hells, you're wrong, which I know how much you would appreciate that.
I'll say it just to say it. I'll make something up. Just, yeah.
So I'm pretty sure we'll get there eventually. What we do have, we have a slightly elevated VIX. We have a flat-ish to up-ish dollar. And we have some, data pieces and some global stuff that we need to walk through. Tensions between China and the U.S. seem to be, I don't want to say creeping up a little bit, but there's definitely some games being played over there. We all are aware of the actions that we were taking against, more advanced chips as far as getting to China. They turned around and countered by basically saying, hey, not so fast. We're not going to give you any nickels for your batteries. And then we're countering back again saying, well, wait, there's more. We're going to limit your access to cloud. So there's no longer, a loophole for you to get after these AI chips. Then China says, well, hey, you're trying to keep us from, moving forward as a nation and developing our economy. And then we have Yellen, who is set to arrive in China on Thursday through Sunday, which is going to be eventful in some capacity. There's going to be headline in some capacity. The question ultimately is, and we've been through this before, we remember the trade wars going back to the Trump administration, kind of gearing up for the same type of, back and forth. I think the idea of them being able to play well is pretty much done. I don't know that we're going to be able to play well necessarily with them. Their loss is certainly our gain, is how, we're kind of positioned to look at it. And they're having their own issues, mainly based on the fact that their recovery, their big bombastic recovery, once they lifted the zero COVID policy, was supposed to stimulate their economy and go boom. So far, it's going bust. And they're trying to pump stimulus into their economy. They're trying to do whatever they can. But the reality is, it's just not there. That explosion is just not there. We've also seen Japan pull back a little bit as far as their markets over the last week or so. Slowly, it's just kind of being chipped away at a little bit while we've been grinding higher. Now I think we're at this little inflection point here where you can go ahead and say, well, that could be a double top, maybe kind of, sort of. Then you can say, well, maybe it's more like a cupish, handle-ish, inverse head and shoulderish thing, maybe kind of, sort of. There's a lot of maybe kind of, sort of, but we are, Bender, right back into the picture of earnings season almost all over again. Almost
all over again.
Almost all over again. So with this being said, once you walk us through some of these charts, if you're into some of these upgrades, downgrades, Netflix got an upgrade. It's like whatever. We still have some labor issues going on with companies like UPS. You still have the actors and writers strike kind of banging around. Oh, look, there's that chart I was thinking about that you might show us.
There's the one.
Now you're probably going to tell us, well, this is the 58% retracement of the golden ratio of the XYZ factor squared times 8.
You make my head hurt.
I have a feeling your head is
I
hurt,
don't think
and it has
anybody
nothing
can.
to do with me.
Well, I don't think anybody can do that math. Whatever you just threw out there,
Well,
I don't think anybody could do that math.
I'm special. Special.
It's just some kind of special, sure. Yeah. All right. So, we came down and we touched the bottom of the fair value gap on the 60-minute candle here. You can see I have a line right there, 44.66.25. We came down and we tapped it. Currently bouncing just above it. If this breaks, the bottom of that next 60-minute candle fair value gap is 44.55. And then we have that regular trading hours gap that we gapped down and then gapped back up. That shaded box sitting down here. This 50% retracement that I have marked out right here, that's this most recent low to high. That's half that move. That comes in 44.53.75. If I go out to the daily, you can see the bottom of this daily fair value gap. If it really wants to, it's not that far. It's 30 points. But that comes in 44.37.75. Those are kind of the main levels below. You still have the midpoint of this trend line. You can see the purple trend line, that trend line resistance up above, part of that channel. And here's trend line support. Down here, the midpoint is this yellow dotted line, which today would kind of come in right around that 50% retracement level and near the bottom of that 60-minute fair value gap. So if we do pull back down into here, that is an area that I would expect we would see a bounce just above this regular trading hours, that actual gap. If I go out to the regular trading hours chart, you can see that was that initial gap, and then this whole thing right here was the gap up. So that still sits open right there. Currently sitting 44.68 half. So sitting just above the start of that gap up. So that starts at, 44.65. So if we get down into that, like I said, I would be watching right around that 44.50, 44.54, kind of right in here. I would expect to bounce in there. That I think is likely if we come down into that you see that bounce. Go back out
if
to
we make another tick lower, which odds are we won't, right? Okay,
right. That's if we break this, under this. Now that this is filled, this 60-minute fair value gap is filled. If we break below that, that becomes resistance. Then probably see another 10 to 12 handles down into this area, and then got to kind of watch and see what it does. That could hold. Again, that's the midpoint of that channel, and would put us right at that 50% retracement level. So below that, then, probably go down and fill in the rest of that gap. I think that's about it as far as levels below. Levels above, you can see we left some stuff behind on this move down here. So we could see kind of a back and fill. 44.80 would be the top of this 60-minute fair value gap on this down candle. That would come in right there, 44.78, and then above that, 44.87.75. And then you can see if it really wants to go. If it really wants to go, and we get through these, then we're looking at back at 4,500 again. And we'll keep tracking this weekly fair value gap top which was 4504.75.
Where's that 4480 that everybody's babbling about? Where's that on that little deal?
Right here.
Right there. So we lost 4480.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, indeed. That was kind of that flag support.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
So what happens next, Bender?
That's all I got. Well, what happens next is Stonkington's going to say some things. And
Are
then
you sure it's
Sun's going
not
to say
Sunny?
some things.
So are we switching up the lineup? Is it Stonk
Oh.
next and then
Or Sun's going to say some things, and then Stonkington's going to say some things, and then the market's going to open, and then we're going to go about our day, and then it's going to close. There you go. I laid out the whole day for you.
wow, that's amazing. Sonny,
All right.
welcome back, buddy. What you got for us?
Morning, everyone. Let's see, you already covered Netflix. You took part of my speech today. The other upgrade is AMD. Price target raised to 150. So FDA is supposed to do a bunch of reviews and approvals this month. Bigger one is for BIB. It's for their Alzheimer's therapy. So what happens is, like, if FDA does give this the traditional approval on this, is likely that Medicare will start coverage on the therapy, which is kind of huge for these guys. It's the scam where charge the. So that decision is supposed to be tomorrow, July 6th. And on the OTC side is ESALF is the other stock. They're both partners. It's Alzheimer's. So I've been looking at BIB. Probably put a. Other one is Rivian. I think there was some news data numbers came out last week. Is for now is Amazon's gonna start selling Rivian vehicles. Their van stuff like Europe starting. Moderna is making $1 billion investment in China. So they're buying up land, gonna build up a factory, and any vaccine that's created there will population and would not be.
That sounds
that's-
like it's great for, world peace and harmony and all that kind of stuff. That sounds amazing. Can't wait till that happens.
Yeah, can't wait for Moderna to take more of the. But it's curious because China has been against any mRNA stuff forever, and for them to open the areas.
Yeah.
You already covered that China access to cloud service is going to be limited. So what that means is, and Amazon, Microsoft, they have to get the U.S. government approval before they can sign a contract with any customers going forward.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. And I think there's just a lot of posturing happening before Yellen gets there.
I agree.
Trying to do this, China doing their export restrictions. I think what kind of blindsided them was the Dutch government's approval to block machinery for the manufacture of the chips and stuff from ASML going out, getting restricted, blindsided China. And
Oh, so it blindsided them that, a government can kind of step in and fuck things up for.
Yeah. Especially Europeans.
So that blindsided them a little bit.
Yeah.
Wow.
They don't expect the Europeans to be, that bold.
It's almost like the Klan saying that, that they believe that racism is a problem in the country. It's like unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Way to go, China.
There you go. But it's interesting that the vision I had was the whole Russia and the coup attempt that happened was all U.S. media outlets were covering it, and barely heard about it. So it's like somebody's trying to justify all the dollars being pumped that, hey, this thing is kind of working for us.
Yeah.
And China's kind of doing the same thing. Like, this has just been a lot more news cycle in the month, I'd say. China has, U.S. mentality has kind of shifted from decoupling to de-risking. which basically means, well, we still need you. We don't want a trade war, else. But headlines just keep coming out. It's contrary to what they put out.
It is interesting how you know it's like it seems as if some of the conversation wants to go back to like restabilizing a working relationship in a fluid global economy, but there's still so much hangover and headwind sitting in front of it based on off of actions that it makes it a little bit difficult to kind of even get there when either one of them can pull the rug on the other at any point in time.
Exactly. And I think that has a lot to do with the Russia-Ukraine war, which trade part trade's getting bigger, and the sanctions are not as effective. That's all.
All right, very good. Well, welcome back, buddy. Good to have you.
Thank you.
Stonkington, paging Stonkington. Let's see if Stonkington is contemplating some type of a smash burger over there. Burgers and dogs were a big deal yesterday, so I think do we get a smashing burger?
Oh man, yeah. Let's see what we got. Let's get some screen sharing going here, and we'll look for some burgers. But I think first, more importantly, I got to call myself out. I fucked up. You guys all were part of it. On Friday, I've been talking for weeks and weeks and weeks about trading psychology, about Trader Tom saying you can't get happy about a green candle and you can't get sad about a red one. And then I fucking went and take a killer trade and I got happy about it. And it's like, damn it, Stonkington. Do you really need to go bang your super attractive woman every time you make a couple G's? Like, what the hell? We've got hours to go. Sit the fuck down and do it again. So that was my bad. And learning.
So wait. You said we were all a part of this, and I don't remember any of that.
Thank God. Well, that's good then. That's good.
What happened?
All right, cool.
I heard red candle, green candle, banging his wife, making a couple of grand, and I don't. And somehow you're upset.
This sounds like a movie.
It's like, do you want to? Was the sex that bad, or did she take your money for the sex? What are we talking about here, Stonkington?
We're talking about getting too excited about a good trade. Can't get excited about a good trade. Took a good trade, and you got to just sit the fuck down and do it again. Can't get excited about one stupid good trade. That's it. This is another reference to a new book here too. SMB Capital, Mike Belfiore, the guy that runs that. One Good Trade. That's the name of his book. Their whole thing is you take one good trade, and then you take another good trade, and then take one more good trade. So that's it. That's what I'm going to be focusing on. But yeah, I guess nobody knew what I was talking about, so even better. No fail. Here we go. So here was your smash burger. I still have the alert. We would need to. It was based on, what is this? Thursday's price action going into Friday. We closed way above Thursday's high on Friday. So we would have been looking for a short breaking below Friday's low, which same goes for the SPY. We have an alert set on that one as well. So that's your smash burger. I'll just leave those alerts, but basically that would just be the break below Friday's low. So that's it, basically, if we're looking at smash burgers. So let's get into some more specifics here. Jumping into the NASDAQ. So here, yellow box is going to be this daily fair value gap, which before the pullback into here, this was it, the bottom of this candle to this. What's interesting here, this is another Mr. T lesson, the importance of the midpoint of a fair value gap. And look what we came to and paused. So be watching here, this line, 255.50. If we break, then this could be an easy target below 202.75. If we're going to respect this much longer term trend line here below. That could all kind of line up somewhere as we drift down, because this is a 4-hour chart, so that could take some time to get down there. So that's kind of a downside target if this line is lost. Above, pink box is going to be our new week opening gap. If we go back into that range, there was one of the little like ICT tips there that was if we bounce around many times in a week in that range, which we're very likely to have a range bound week overall. We kind of saw that a week or two ago, I believe. Above, then the next target I'll be looking at is this. We could see the rejection of all these, this 417 flat. And then if we keep pushing, these will be upside targets on the NASDAQ. Let's see. Let me jump over to the Russell.
Yeah, I'm curious about the Russell because we're getting, activity. Not necessarily into some of the ETF, but some of the individuals are getting some activity.
Yeah. It stood out on the weekly inside bar list. We had a lot of like small cap that has compressed. We've got Shop, we've got Marvell, we've got, so there's tickers that are out there that could be set up. Let's see what the Russell does. So similarly, the Russell had the daily fair value gap that originally went from this candle's wick, but I already updated this one to just kind of match what we filled in so far. Pink box, new week opening gap. And then this is kind of when I looked at the 4-hour and we hadn't done this yet, I was like, oh, that looks like kind of like a flag or something. Now we can maybe draw something out. Let's see, that would be maybe more like this. We got these guys, which this still kind of looks bullish if we, did this kind of thing. And it's like, okay, that's a big flag. We've got this trend line, less taps than the one on the NASDAQ. So if we go up, I didn't fill this one in because we had the new week opening gap, but this would basically be a first upside target because this candle would have been a big fair value gap basically. And then we've got maybe some relative equal highs up here. Could be a target above once we take this candle's, whoever got short at the top of that, once we take their stops, then we could be looking to this area here, 1928.60-ish. And then we've got some more targets above. Below, I would be, if we lose this level where we're bouncing now, next looking below 1878. Let's see if we jump over to some individual tickers. This one I'm just stealing blatantly from someone in Maine. Crypto's been on fire. Russell or Riot breaking a weekly bull flag. Saw a nice chart over there in Maine. I was like, damn, yeah, they sniped that one. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get some flow. They had flow last week for sure. So we'll see on that one. Let's see. Sonny had mentioned Moderna. That's a weekly inside bar. Let's clean this up so you guys can actually see. And on a 4-hour, kind of had this like falling wedge look to it type of deal. It's kind of dropped back into it. So if you were going to want to trade Moderna, I'd be looking at above 123 to hold or below 121. Healthcare got a mention on Fast Money last week, a recession-proof sector, basically, because everyone's kind of like waiting. What's the next big thing what's the next big headline, basically? So I think those could be the good watches. Moderna above 123 or below 121. Riot, we'll watch for flow, and then I'll kind of just keep an eye on the other regulars, Apple and Nvidia, see what we get.
Right on. Yeah, Apple is interesting with their little headset thingy majigget saying that they're not going to be able to produce as many, so kind of lowering that overall target on the little vision thingies. And it's pulled back, and it's got gap after gap after gap on the daily, all the way down to probably like 8 cents, but still there's a lot of gaps on that chart on the daily. So that one to me is very interesting. I'm curious to see what they do with some of that flow and like the Rivians. I'm curious about the crypto flow. What's going to happen with some of that? Because while some of that flow was bullish on Friday, the majority of it was kind of neutral to bearish. Some of the flow coming in there, which is interesting, and it is pulling back off of its weekend highs, if you will, or holiday highs, however you want to count that. Tesla, again, very interesting. It had its pop, but then there was a legitimate fade to be had somewhere in there. It's not going to gap up twice on the same news, right? So there's another gap there on the daily on Tesla. There's a lot of there is severe structure lacking on a lot of these individual tickers to the downside, but that doesn't mean that we have to get there. The flow kind of has to come through as far as matching that out. So I think technology.
I got a quote for you on that.
Here we go.
Yep.
If it has something to do with the market can remain irrational longer, then you can stay solvent. I'm going to lose my shit.
William Peter Hamilton said, Wall Street's graveyards are filled with men who were right too soon.
Yeah.
I like that one.
I like that one a lot. I think that's a really great one.
The other one, not a quote, but the other thing I was going to mention is that you were talking about, or Stonkington was talking about small caps. Obviously, I've been kind of tracking the Russell. But this July, historically, begins NASDAQ, and this comes from the Almanac, begins NASDAQ's worst 4 months. However, July is the best performing month for the Dow and the S&P. Best performing month, of the third quarter for the Dow and the S&P. So historically, in July, tech, not so hot. Everything else, tends to get a bit of a lift.
Yeah. And you can kind of
just
see
food
that
for thought.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great point. You could see a little bit of that activity on Friday with banks running as strong as they did, for the past several days since their little stressing test. And tech, I don't want to say pulling back because that's kind of like it hasn't really pulled back. It just stopped going up. So I think that there's some interesting pieces in there to look for, and that's look. The biggest thing the way to win the market is if you can figure out the rotation, if you can understand the rotation.
We'll talk. I'm going to add that to the morning show. I'll figure out a quick way to just give what at least from a seasonality perspective, right? We have to watch flow to kind of see when that rotation starts to happen. But, month to month, we can track, over the last 100 years, we can look at historically what are the best months to buy and sell certain sectors. And I can just kind of add that to the, it's a 30-second, okay, here's where we're at. And just kind of track that.
Because it's like it doesn't appear, right, that barring some type of a catalyst that we're going to get like this massive broad market flush. It doesn't appear that way. Now, it doesn't mean that it can't happen. But this rotation has been going on for a minute now. And so now you have a reason in some capacity where, okay, banks, healthcare, travel, right? Is that travel trade already overblown? I don't know. I mean, it's like it becomes very interesting. So flow combined with what you're talking about could be amazing. We have about 10 minutes until open. Again, we have Fed minutes today. I think we have some ISM data coming out also. And then Thursday, Friday, we get jobs data that, obviously means something at the end of the day. So kind of short week if you want to look at it from that standpoint. So just be wise, be smart, play what you see, have fun, all that kind of good stuff. That's all I got. Fellas, you have anything else?
I'm good.
Nope. Nothing else.
All right, very good. 9 minutes until open. 9 minutes till open. Let's have a good day.
See you soon.